Francois, welcome to the L3 conference, Listen, Learn and Live. And just as a little bit of background, as you're aware, we've created this conference to enable coaches and leaders and supervisors to tap into the ways we can grow together to enable positive transformation systemically in our world around equality, diversity, and inclusion. We really appreciate you giving up your time as a volunteer to be with us on this global conference as one of the 24 speakers. Jean-Francois, welcome.
Thank you very much, Claire, and much gratitude for what you and your team are doing, campaigning for equality, diversity, and inclusion. I'm very happy to be a very tiny part of your project today. Thanks again, and also thank you to Juan Pablo Otero and Joe Ortiz for the very important and beautiful offer they gave us today. So I am going to talk about reinventing the way we are, we relate with others, and we lead with an artistry that is nourished by inclusion. And you may think, why? What's the big why, in fact? And let me show you in a few pictures my big why. Here we go. And that's where we're starting from. You see, we mean well with the way we are, we lead, and yet that is what we have happening. So what could we hope for? Perhaps we could, like Anne Frank in her concentration camp did, right? Focus on the beauty that remains, or be inspired by Nelson Mandela, who said, man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden, but never extinguished. And while that will help, that will not be enough. What more could we do? I wanted to show you a few ideas that come up these days in the middle of this profound crisis in some business magazines, right? And first here, reimagining a brighter future, exploring the unknown, reinventing how we develop strategies in this highly complex environment of ours, right? Thinking in multi-level systems about interconnected problems, operating on multiple timescales simultaneously, and competing on imagination, right? And Boston Consulting Group is saying, making contact with the unknown, focusing on anomalies, using counterfactual skills as well as factual skills, right? And using cognitive diversity. Now, that's not all. Harvard Business Review is also suggesting we need imagination now more than ever. And for that, we have to allow ourselves to be playful, to seek out the anomalous in unexpected, encourage experimentations, and stay hopeful. Now, it's an invitation, of course, for us to use our right and left brains together, right? I am believing that this is all helpful and yet is not going far enough. One more thing from Albert Einstein perhaps can help too, right? Letting our intuitive mind help us, because he says it's a sacred gift. And the rational mind, which is honored by our society, should actually be the servant of the intuitive mind. And yet still, I'm not believing this is going far enough. I think in our complex, profound crisis, we need a deeper reinvention of how we are, how we relate, and how we lead. And then only can we produce ideas and form projects for the future that will lead to a sustainable, better world. And with this, I'd love to propose an idea that will help a lot. I think it's about unleashing our artistry, going beyond any mastery of our craft that we may have formed over the years. And I'd love to invite you, as you watch Pablo Picasso at work, to think, how would you describe artistry? And yes, you earned a wink from the artist, right? Well, there are many ways to describe mastery and artistry. I'll just propose a few ideas for each, right? Of course, Picasso is a master before he's an artist, right? He's got such a mastery of technique that whatever he does with it is effortless and flawless. And of course, he's got a profound knowledge of his craft. He can also paint like Raphael if he wants to, right? As we gain mastery in our crafts, we do gain better acumen about situations and people, and we do develop some wisdom. Now, when we allow ourselves to unleash our artistic mind, and on the premise that our artistry is anchored to mastery, then of course we're going to unleash our imagination. We will not seek perfection or correctness. And you could see Pablo Picasso removing some of the paint he had applied on the mirror he was painting on, right? Not seeking perfection, right? Most importantly, when we allow our artistic mind to help us, we free ourselves from many constraints that we've worked with over the years. Many constraints about how we have to be, how we have to relate, how we have to talk, how we have to create. And we do this. In a way that opens up to including new cultures, new ideas, new ways of being, a greater respect for what we don't understand, what is different, right? And then what we create is original, of course, and truly ours, distinctive of us, right? Distinctive of us, and can be bit over time, and it draws from diversity. Picasso and I think all artists, right, spend a lot of time getting inspired by new things they don't understand and try to, right? And so to me, unleashing our artistic mind is like freeing the little artist we have sleeping deep within us, a very important way to, a very important help to reinvent the future. And at the core is appreciation for diversity and inclusiveness. Now, you may say, interesting, I want to try. How can I do that? Now, I'll start with offering a piece of advice from Lady Gaga, and listen to this.
I really encourage people to look into the darkness and look into places that you would not normally look to find uniqueness and specialness, because that's where the diamonds are hiding.
So she said, right, I really encourage people to look into the darkness, into places they don't normally look at. Uniqueness and specialness. She called that diamonds, right? Because that's where, in fact, deep inside, because they've been kept inactive or hidden by many things, right? So my invitation to you in just a minute or two is to look deep within yourself and draw those diamonds of uniqueness and specialness that you find there. And for that, I really simply invite you to take a pen or a paper, and if you don't have pen or paper, just perhaps draw with your finger on the table or on your lap, easy, and try and find a bit of those diamonds. What's unique, what's special about you? And of course, you've got to wake up the child within you, right? Because the child is uninhibited. So let's do this for a minute. This nice music, and then we'll discuss.
Jesus Christ, help me. My African brother.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone around the world, for playing. I'm sorry, with this this invitation, right? I see, Claire, you really did the exercise, didn't you? Yeah. Hey, beautiful. Wow. Thanks very much for sharing, Claire. And then I'm asking everyone, how did you feel when were trying to draw those diamonds of uniqueness? What's special about you? And I would guess for many of us, it's uncomfortable. And it's uncomfortable because we've got these voices in our heads that can say, oh, come on, you can't do that. that's a children's game, right? In fact, there is a part of us that is like a prison guard, and it
What are you
keeps
talking about?
this within us captive. Plus, there are also people who will say, hey, come on, you can't be an artist, you know? I mean, you have no talent, you have no taste. Artists are not made, they are born. Well, I disagree with everything, of course, but I agree on one thing, the last one. Artists are born. And the truth is, we are all born artists, in fact. But then, of course, education, society, or even builds so many barriers around that little artist, right? Because it's uncontrollable, right? An inconvenience for smooth social relationships. And so we've got, if we want to reinvent the way we relate with others in a way that's inclusive, that values diversity, to wake up that artist and in the first place break the barriers around the artist. Now let me tell you then what happens next. Once you stop being a product, in a way, design culture you grew in, then you stop judging. You stop judging, and then you start inclusively seeking and valuing diversity. And then your imagination and your inner world come out. Your artistry, little by little, can blossom.
Interesting.
You have to then find out
Ching Chong faggot.
The unknown. And with this, I'd love to invite you to reflect about how you could embrace different things in different cultures. For example, the time approach, which will be in the West and cyclical in Asia, or reasoning that can be rational in the West and more analogical in Asia, making sense of analogies between various phenomena, right? Or the truth, perhaps more absolute in the West, relative in Asia. Just kind of a suggestion of reflection for you. Now, I'd love in the last few minutes we have together to give you a chance to enrich your forward thinking with fresh creativity as you reflect about who you want to be, how you want to relate with others, and how you want to lead in the future. So my invitation is to watch a few I will play for you. And when you see those pictures, think, what is this picture telling me about what the future I desire need more of from me, right? So it's about the future you desire for yourself, your relationships, the way you lead, and what it needs more of. And let me play pictures for you and invite you to listen to what the pictures can tell you about the future you want.
Bro, look at my mom. It makes me sad.
And with all of this and these pictures, which you can take a picture of on your smartphone if you wish, right, to keep them in your memory, my invitation is, as you remember the pictures that inspired you, told you something about the future you desire and what it needs more of, with those pictures, what is the story that is unfolding about you evolving, how you're going to be, how you're going to grow, to relate, to embrace diversity, to include, and to lead. With this, I'd love to offer a few ideas that can help, and some are really taken from Asian philosophers. Let's start with this one. As you develop a bit of your artistry, right, allow within you to help you grow and open your mind to diversity and be including in the way you are, right? This thought from Lao Tzu, a Chinese philosopher, 3,500 plus years ago, the way to do is to be, right? And when you watch Picasso with me, right, he was not.
So truly, I sound like Taco.
He was not just painting, right? He was the painting, right? And allow yourself to be fully who you are, then so many things become more natural to do to you, and that of course helps you embrace relationship in a more vulnerable way, and therefore grow your relationships very healthily. Now, another thought is everything has its beauty, but not everyone sees it, right? From Confucius, also a Chinese philosopher. And I've chosen stains on this graph because for me as a coach, it's important when we see people and we see perhaps their stains, metaphorically speaking, that we admire their stains, their uniqueness, right, their specialness. And with these stains come special talents. These stains are diamonds, in fact, perhaps one facet of diamonds, right? And so valuing them, being curious about them is really helping us develop relationships that will help everyone bring out their best. Now, another thought I wanted to offer is that you are seeing what you are pure enough to receive. Yep. In my job as a coach, of course, this is also important, I think, in everybody's lives, right? That means when you listen to someone, right, clear away the clutter in your mind, all those voices, and fully focus on the person and all those diamonds inside that you can help the person bring out, and then you can both play with them, right, and expand them with a way of transforming things. Then I have another one thought that I'd love to share. And Gaga said, the great artist is a simplifier, right? And that's an invitation for me, from me to you, to look at simplifying the way you relate with people, right? There again, take away all that's a burden. That's not really at the core of who you want to be in relationships, right? Simplify your leadership as well. Simplify the way you coach as artists do, right? Go to the core. it's more than enough. And then one last piece of advice that's very much related comes from the story of Michelangelo, you know, who sculpted that David, right? And one day, the state of Firenze had delivered a huge block of marble in his courtyard, and Michelangelo was looking at that enormous block of marble, and a little kid came and asked Michelangelo, what are you going to do? And Michelangelo said, I am going to free the angel inside. And then, of course, that involves a process of simplification, right? And of chopping off or chipping away all that's not necessary. And that's my invitation to everyone, right? If we progress like artists, right? We set aside so many of the barriers and the unnecessary limitations that our education and society has laid around our talent, and then it's much easier to find who we really want to be, how we really want to relate, embrace diversity, how we want to include others in our lives, how we want to grow, and how we want to lead. Now with this, I'll conclude by saying what happens when leaders partner with their artistic mind. Well, first, as you show up as an artist, well, actually, of course, you've let go of control, right? And because you're not controlling anymore, you create a space for others to be also open and free, and it's easier for them to do their creativity, artistry.
No.
So, and the artist can also become like a compelling white canvas that others feel drawn to draw upon. Yeah? And then, of course,
So like, what's the difference?
As artists, appreciate the whole and the inner beauty of people and landscape and phenomenons, right? And we see people in particular with their uniqueness and specialness, right, as living and evolving work of art. Appreciation, and that is a great way to progress in life and to invite others to do the same, right? So with this, I'd love to just say, do appreciate your and others' uniqueness. It's what makes you and us all precious. Seek others' uniqueness. In this time, which is a very painful period in human history, right? Perhaps Lao Tzu, again, is right, and I certainly hope he is, when he says it could be a new beginning in disguise. Unleashing your artistic mind will help a lot. As you go, do trust that your way ahead will appear as you walk. I will be happy if you enjoyed the Slack deck to send it to you. You can just reach out to me by LinkedIn, for example, with this QR code, and just send the message, please slide deck, something like that, right? I will understand. And with this, I really want to thank very much Claire for this beautiful initiative that's going to make a difference for all of us and those whose lives we touch. Claire, that's so beautiful. I'm thinking we are running out of time for a Q&A. Sorry about that. I didn't manage my time very properly. Thanks very much again for your kind invitation. Thank you everyone for your kind attention.
Jean-Francois, that was such a colourful session. I loved the way the slides were so colourful, but also using the music really helps us to connect with what you described as the diamond in the dark and discover our hidden talents as well. Fabulous session. I know there are a few questions in the chat.